What if I told you that success is not something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become? In the timeless teachings of Napoleon Hill, the law of attraction is not mysticism. It is a precise mental mechanism driven by thought, belief, and action. If you've ever felt like you're working hard but not moving forward, this message is for you. In this video, we dive deep into Hill's true interpretation of the law of attraction, stripped of hype and rooted in mental discipline, definiteness of purpose, and the burning desire that ignites all achievement. We're not talking about wishful thinking. We're talking about a mindset so focused, so charged with emotion, and so unshakably directed toward your goal that the entire universe begins to respond. You will discover how to transform abstract desire into concrete riches. You will learn the invisible laws that govern your ability to attract success, opportunity, and wealth. Not through chance, but through cause and effect, repetition of thought, and the domination of your own subconscious mind. This is not theory. It is law. So if you've been stuck, distracted, or unsure how to make the law of attraction truly work for you, this is your moment. Stick with me through every minute of this video. What you're about to learn can reset your results forever. Before any visible success is manifested, it begins as a silent impulse, an invisible idea within the mind of the individual. Napoleon Hill taught us that thought is the starting point of all achievement. It is the seed from which all riches grow. And if this is true, then the most powerful resource we possess is not time, money, or talent. It is the ability to think with definiteness of purpose. Most people misunderstand the law of attraction. They believe it is a passive phenomenon, where merely visualizing wealth or repeating affirmations will bring riches. But Hill made it clear, thinking alone is not enough. Thought must be fused with belief, desire, faith, and persistent action. The mind must be trained. It must be directed. It must be dominated by the will. Every single success story in history began with an individual who dared to see in the mind what did not yet exist in the physical world. These men and women held the image of their desire so intensely that it grew into a burning obsession. They didn't beg for success, they demanded it from life, and backed up that demand with disciplined thought and relentless action. You must understand that success is a spiritual process governed by psychological laws. You cannot attract anything that is inconsistent with the dominating thoughts of your mind. If you dwell in fear, scarcity, or doubt, you are repelling the very things you claim to want. But if your dominant mental vibration is confidence, wealth, and achievement, you will magnetize those things into your life. This is not magic. It's cause and effect. Hill describes the subconscious mind as the connecting link between your finite intelligence and infinite intelligence. When you impress an idea on your subconscious mind with enough intensity and repetition, it begins to guide your behavior, filter your perception, and align your environment with your mental image. This is the mechanism behind the law of attraction. It is not passive, it is proactive programming. And what programs your subconscious mind? Repetition, emotion, faith, and above all, action. You must act as though your success is inevitable, even when there is no physical evidence of it yet. This is what Hill meant by faith, belief in the unseen, backed by action toward the seen. The person who consistently holds a mental picture of success acts as if they already possess it and refuses to allow external circumstances to shake their inner vision. This person is unstoppable. They will attract people, opportunities, and ideas that resonate with their dominant frequency of thought. But this requires mental discipline. You must guard your mind like a fortress. Hill emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with the right influences because the mind absorbs whatever is around it. If you listen to negative people, watch disempowering media, or entertain doubtful thoughts, you're sabotaging your own vibration. You must become the master of your thoughts. This means writing down your goals every day, repeating affirmations that are emotionally charged, visualizing your success in detail with clarity and certainty, acting decisively, speaking with conviction. Thinking from the end, not about the end. The law of attraction responds not to vague hopes, but to definite demands. And definiteness is power. It is magnetic. The clearer you are about what you want, the more rapidly it begins to move toward you. This is why Hill said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." The key word here is believe. If you do not believe in your ability to succeed, you will subconsciously sabotage your own efforts. You will hesitate. You will procrastinate. You will shrink from challenge. But when your belief is absolute, the entire universe begins to conspire on your behalf. This belief is not random. It is created. It is built by thinking in a disciplined way, by surrounding yourself with success literature, powerful associations, and daily practices that reinforce your identity as someone who attracts wealth and opportunity. If you're listening now and you're ready to break through, I ask you to pause for one moment. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, not just because it helps us reach more people, but because it signals to your own subconscious that you are committed to becoming someone different, someone better, someone powerful. Because here is the truth. The moment you decide, truly decide, to take full control of your thoughts, you have already begun to change your destiny. The world outside may look the same, but inside, a new vibration has been set. And that frequency is now pulling to you everything you need to fulfill your vision. So, hold your image. Refuse to let go of it. Repeat it. Believe in it. Act on it. Speak from it, and it will harden into fact. This is the beginning of attraction. Not magic, not mystery, but the organized, consistent discipline of thought. A way of life rooted in purpose and powered by faith. And it all begins right now, with one thought. Success is never a matter of chance. It is the result of law. In Napoleon Hill's philosophy, nothing happens without a cause. Every result in your life, whether wealth or poverty, health or sickness, joy or misery, can be traced back to the dominant thoughts that occupy your mind. One of the most profound truths Hill ever revealed is this: you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. But this mastery does not come through external control. It comes through inner alignment. To attract success, you must first become success in thought, emotion, and behavior. You cannot attract what you have not yet become. This is the inner paradox. You must already feel rich before the riches arrive. You must act confidently before the world recognizes your greatness. You must carry yourself with calm certainty, even while your circumstances scream failure. Why? Because the law of attraction is not about reacting, it's about creating. Your mind is a broadcasting station. Every thought you think emits a frequency, and that frequency seeks out and connects with its match in the world. Hill taught that when you hold a clear, persistent thought, especially one backed by emotion and belief, that thought begins to move the ether. It begins to shape unseen forces that organize your life experience. Most people live in reaction. They respond to what happens. They let their emotions be dictated by circumstance. But the one who truly understands Napoleon Hill's message creates circumstances. They do not wait for the right opportunity. They attract it. They do not hope for support. They magnetize it. This process begins with autosuggestion. Autosuggestion, as defined by Hill, is the medium by which you influence your subconscious mind. It is the practice of repeating your desire, your vision, your affirmation again and again, until it becomes real to your emotional nature. Not simply repeating words, but charging them with belief, feeling them, seeing them, speaking them into the mirror of your own mind. You are not trying to convince the world, you are trying to convince yourself, because once your subconscious accepts a belief as true, it begins to work day and night to express it in physical form. It moves your habits, it shifts your decisions, it alters your perception. You start seeing different things, feeling different emotions, making different moves. This is the law of attraction in its truest, most grounded form. Hill made it clear, desire is the starting point of all achievement, but desire alone is not enough. That desire must become a burning obsession. You must want it so deeply that no excuse, no delay, no failure can kill it. That level of desire creates mental tension, and that tension generates action. And action, repeated with faith, draws to you the very things you imagined. The reason most people fail with the law of attraction is because they have no definite purpose. They don't know what they really want. Their minds are scattered, their goals are vague, and their actions are inconsistent. They get a flash of inspiration, they try for a week, then they quit. But when you have definiteness of purpose, and that purpose is fused with faith and emotion, the subconscious begins to receive the order. The signal becomes consistent, and the vibration becomes magnetic. This is why Hill warned against drifting. The drifter is the person who goes through life without a goal, without discipline, without intentional thought. The drifter is controlled by fear, opinion, and environment. And as a result, the drifter attracts only confusion, scarcity, and frustration. You must not drift. You must decide who you are, what you want, and what price you're willing to pay. And then you must repeat that decision every day in thought and action until it becomes your reality. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for approval. Begin now. With whatever you have from wherever you are, speak the vision, write the affirmation, visualize the outcome, and take action no matter how small. Hill often reminded us that faith is a state of mind that may be induced by autosuggestion. You don't need to feel it naturally, you can build it. You can repeat the words, see the images, declare the truth, until your mind accepts it as fact. Once that belief is installed, the law of attraction begins to operate with precision. People will call it luck. They will say, "You're so fortunate." But you will know, this is not fortune, this is law. This is the consequence of spiritual preparation and mental conditioning. If you want to attract success, stop talking about failure. If you want to attract opportunity, stop rehearsing limitation. If you want to attract wealth, stop indulging in scarcity. You must become emotionally allergic to doubt, fear, and negativity. You must treat your mind like sacred territory. Every day, feed it with power. Read your purpose aloud. Write it down. Visualize your future. Speak with confidence. And most importantly, take action that reflects your belief. Do not be deceived by temporary setbacks. Hill wrote about the story of R.U. Darby, who stopped drilling for gold just 3 feet from the richest vein. He gave up too soon. Don't let that be your story. Stay faithful. Keep drilling. The gold is always just beyond the point where most give up. There is a reason Hill called faith a state of mind that may be created voluntarily. It means you are not a victim of emotion. You can create your own internal climate. You can choose to feel belief even when everything seems dark. And that choice will shift everything. This is the real power behind the law of attraction. It's not about wishing. It's about becoming, not about dreaming. It's about disciplining, not about hoping. It's about declaring and acting. And when your entire being is aligned with that declaration, the universe must respond. This is not philosophy. This is law. There is no such thing as something for nothing. That truth is embedded in every line of Napoleon Hill's philosophy. You cannot wish for wealth and sit idle. You cannot desire power and live in distraction. The universe rewards only those who pay the price, through discipline, focus, persistence, and faith. This is why the law of attraction, as Hill described it, is not simply about what you want, it is about what you are willing to become in order to receive it. Success is not attracted by words, it is attracted by vibration. And that vibration is created by your mental habits, your emotional energy, and your daily actions. Think of it this way: the mind is like a magnet, but not all magnets are strong. A weak, scattered, or doubting mind has very little power to attract. It sends out conflicting signals. It wants success, but it fears rejection. It craves money, but it hates discipline. It speaks faith, but it thinks in fear. That mind cannot attract anything stable, but when the mind is charged with a definite purpose, charged with belief, charged with emotional intensity, it becomes a super magnet. It begins to organize your thoughts, guide your choices, influence your habits, and draw toward you the people, circumstances, and ideas that match your vibration. Hill called this applied faith. Not passive faith, not religious faith, but faith in action. It is the habit of believing in what you cannot yet see and acting as though it is already yours. It is refusing to entertain any thought of failure and replacing every doubt with a declaration of certainty. He taught that the subconscious mind operates only on the instructions you give it. And those instructions must be repeated, emotionalized, and specific. You must tell your subconscious what you want, when you want it, what price you're willing to pay, and how you plan to achieve it. This is why Hill insisted every student create a definite chief aim, a single, clear, measurable goal that becomes the obsession of your life. You write it. You read it aloud every day. You visualize it, you feel it, you live from it, and in doing so, you begin to train the subconscious mind to operate as your partner, not your saboteur. Most people use the law of attraction against themselves. They think about what they fear. They focus on what they lack. They worry about what could go wrong, and then they attract experiences that confirm those thoughts. This is not cruelty, it's cause and effect. But once you understand the mechanism, you can reverse it. You can train your mind to think only on the things you desire. You can starve fear of attention. You can interrupt negative thoughts and replace them with powerful declarations. You can begin to shift your mental habits until your dominant emotional state becomes confidence, not doubt. This shift is not easy. It requires daily work. But Hill made it clear. Success requires no apologies. Failure permits no alibis. If you want the rewards, you must do the internal labor. Start each day with intention. Read your chief aim. Visualize your goal. Speak affirmations that are specific and emotionally charged. And then take one action, no matter how small, that moves you in that direction. The key is consistency. One of the greatest mistakes people make is starting and stopping. They do the work for a few days, then get discouraged and quit. But the subconscious mind only responds to persistent repetition. It does not care how you feel today. It only records what you consistently think and feel over time. So don't stop, even when results don't show up immediately. Keep planting the seed, keep feeding the vision, keep acting as though it is already yours. Eventually, the mind reaches a tipping point. The belief becomes unshakable, the vibration stabilizes, and at that moment, attraction becomes automatic. You will begin to receive ideas, meet people, and find doors opening that you never expected. But only if you keep going. You must also eliminate contradiction. If you affirm wealth in the morning, but complain about money by noon, you are neutralizing your power. If you visualize success, but surround yourself with people who speak failure, you are weakening your frequency. Your environment matters. Your words matter. Your thoughts matter. They must be aligned. They must support your vision, not sabotage it. Hill called this the habit of harmonious thought. You must be in harmony with what you desire. That means living as though your goal is inevitable. Not someday, but now. This requires courage. You will feel resistance. People will mock your vision. Your old self will whisper doubt. But remember, every great achiever has walked this path, and those who persist through doubt become unshakable. The law of attraction in Hill's work is a function of mental clarity, emotional power, and relentless persistence. It's not a wish, it's a decision followed by daily reinforcement. You are not here to beg the universe. You are here to command your own mind, and in doing so, you command your destiny. Everything you desire already exists, in form or potential, but it cannot reach you until your vibration matches it. And your vibration is created by thought, emotion, and action, repeated, focused, and saturated with belief. Decide what you want, declare it, feel it, act on it, and never stop until it appears. That is the code, that is the path, that is the law. There comes a moment in the life of every individual where a quiet voice within asks, am I truly in control of my destiny, or merely reacting to the world around me? That question, subtle yet profound, is the beginning of conscious mastery. And according to Napoleon Hill, the answer lies in one word: mindset. The law of attraction is not about wishing for better circumstances. It is about becoming the type of person who naturally attracts better circumstances. It's about inner alignment, not outer luck. You attract who you are, not what you want. And who you are is determined by what you consistently think, feel, and believe. Hill wrote that thoughts which are mixed with any of the feelings of emotion constitute a magnetic force which attracts from the vibrations of the ether other similar or related thoughts. What does this mean? It means that the quality of your emotional state determines the power of your mental broadcast. When your thoughts are infused with strong emotion, whether positive or negative, they become magnets, attracting people, ideas, and conditions that match their frequency. If you constantly feel frustration, you will attract delay and difficulty. If you constantly feel gratitude, you will attract ease and opportunity. This is not abstract theory. This is the emotional engine behind the law of attraction, and Hill understood it better than anyone. But there's a deeper layer. Your emotions are not random. They are the result of your dominant thoughts, and your thoughts are shaped by your environment, your routines, your conversations, your inner dialogue. So if you want to change what you attract, you must change what you consistently allow into your mind. Ask yourself, what do I repeatedly think about when I'm alone? That is your true vibration, not what you post, not what you say, but what you believe when no one is watching. If your inner world is filled with fear, doubt, comparison, and shame, you will emit a weak frequency. But if your mind is saturated with belief, clarity, and purpose, your frequency becomes unstoppable. Hill taught that the subconscious mind is like fertile soil. Whatever is planted, it will return in kind. This is why the mental diet is critical. Just as you cannot expect health while feeding your body with poison, you cannot expect success while feeding your mind with negativity. He was ruthless about this. He insisted that success seekers eliminate all negative influence from books, from people, from habits. He even recommended the use of the invisible counselors technique, where you sit in silence, close your eyes, and mentally consult with the greatest minds in history, imagining their advice and energy flowing into your being. This exercise is not fantasy, it is spiritual alignment. It is a way to tap into the vibration of genius and elevate your own mindset to match. Hill also emphasized that faith and fear cannot exist in the same mind at the same time. One must dominate, and whichever you feed grows. So the question becomes, what are you feeding your mind today? Are you nurturing faith, or are you silently nurturing fear through excuses, hesitation, and self-doubt? You must choose. The most powerful individuals are not fearless. They are faithful. They feel fear, but they act in spite of it. They speak life when their situation looks dead. They hold the vision when the world tells them to quit. That kind of mindset is magnetic. It draws allies, mentors, breakthroughs, not because the universe is random, but because the frequency of success attracts the structure of success. This is where many go wrong. They try to change results without changing self. They want more money but refuse to grow their belief. They want better relationships but stay emotionally chaotic. They want a promotion but resist responsibility. Hill said, "Success requires no explanations. Failure permits no alibis." You must become the kind of person who naturally produces the results you want, not once, not when it's easy, but daily, under pressure, without praise. How do you do this? By installing a success system in your daily life. Wake up early, read your definite purpose, speak it aloud, visualize the outcome, feel the emotion of it, then move, take action, even a small one, that reinforces your belief. Surround yourself with voices of strength, books that challenge your mediocrity, people who stretch your limits, habits that kill doubt. You must outgrow your old self, the one who hesitated, complained, made excuses. That version cannot hold your new vision. It must die so the new you can rise, and in that death is birth, the birth of a new vibration, a new magnetism, a new destiny. The law of attraction, as Hill taught, is a process of emotional discipline. You become what you consistently emotionalize. You attract what you deeply believe. You experience what you habitually expect. So now ask yourself, what do I truly expect? Not what you hope, not what you say. What do you believe is inevitable in your life? Because that belief, subtle, deep, and often unconscious, is the silent architect of your future. Shift it, and everything shifts. The key to attracting success is not found in complexity, but in consistency. According to Napoleon Hill, all achievement is built upon a foundation of daily repetition, repetition of thought, repetition of belief, repetition of action. The law of attraction is activated not by occasional inspiration, but by habitual mental discipline. You do not become successful because you had a great idea. You become successful because you held that idea with unwavering faith, emotionalized it daily, and refused to let it go, even in the face of opposition, delay, or failure. That kind of consistency creates mental momentum, and mental momentum is magnetic. He'll emphasize the importance of definiteness of purpose. Without it, your mind becomes like a ship without a rudder, tossed, reactive, and easily influenced by the opinions of others. But once you have a clear aim, a burning desire to accomplish it, and the faith that it will become real, your inner magnet is activated. You begin to move through life differently. You filter information based on your goal. You say no to distractions. You align your time, energy, and focus with the vision. And most importantly, you create the inner feeling that the result is already yours. This feeling is not delusion, it is preparation. Hill taught that the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between reality and vividly imagined experience. When you feel success before it manifests, your subconscious begins to organize your behavior, attention, and perception to create that result. This is why emotional involvement is key. It is not enough to repeat your goal. You must feel it as though it is already true. That emotional charge turns your thoughts into a creative force. It makes your affirmations magnetic. It turns visualization into vibration, and vibration is the language of the universe. The law of attraction does not respond to shallow desire. It responds to deep belief, Belief backed by expectation and persistence. You must train your nervous system to expect success. That expectation becomes a signal, and that signal attracts. Most people operate with mixed signals. They want success, but expect rejection. They want wealth, but expect struggle. They want freedom, but fear responsibility. These contradictions weaken their magnetic field. They attract results that match their confusion. Hill warned against this. He called for mental harmony. Every thought, word, and action must be in alignment with your goal. You cannot afford contradiction. You must become the embodiment of your result, even before it arrives. This is where most give up. They say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But Hill taught, "You'll see it when you believe it." Belief is the cause. Manifestation is the effect. So how do you build this belief? First, through auto-suggestion. Write your chief aim in clear, definite terms. Repeat it aloud every morning and evening. Look yourself in the mirror. Speak it with emotion, clarity, and faith. Let it sink into your subconscious. Second, through environment. Surround yourself with people, books, audio, and images that reinforce your vision. Eliminate voices of doubt. Limit exposure to negativity. Guard your mind like a fortress. Third, through discipline. Act every day as though your vision is already reality. Walk, speak, and think like the person who has already achieved it. That identity shift increases your vibration. It creates a new frequency, and that frequency begins to attract the resources, ideas, and relationships you need. But understand this: attraction is not passive. Hill never preached inaction. He demanded definiteness in plans and persistence in execution. The person who waits for life to change will never move, but the one who acts boldly while still believing causes life to shift. This is where desire becomes power. When your desire is backed by faith and action, nothing can stop you. You may face setbacks, but you will not quit. You may face doubt, but you will overcome it. You may be misunderstood, but you will stay the course, because the vision within you is more powerful than the noise around you, and slowly the evidence begins to show. You attract new opportunities. You meet the right person. You receive a breakthrough. These moments are not coincidence. They are confirmation that the law is working. You must become sensitive to these signals. Celebrate them. Acknowledge them. Let them reinforce your faith. Every small win is proof that your belief is building a new reality, but you must not stop. The moment you let doubt in, the vibration weakens. The moment you stop repeating your purpose, the signal fades. The moment you drift back into old habits, you return to your old results. This is why success is not a destination. It is a daily practice, a decision made over and over again until it becomes your default state. You are building a new identity, and that identity will attract a new life. So do not ask, "Where is my result?" Ask instead, "Is my vibration aligned? Is my belief growing? Is my action consistent?" The results will come. They must. Because law is law, but only when you become the type of person who matches the frequency of what you desire. To understand the law of attraction at its most profound level, we must examine the concept of vibrational alignment through the lens of personal transformation. Napoleon Hill did not teach us to merely desire wealth. He taught us to deserve it, to become the kind of person who attracts it through internal mastery. Your external world is a mirror of your internal condition. If you see chaos, scarcity, or rejection in your environment, it is reflecting the dominant patterns of thought and belief within you. This is not condemnation, it is revelation. It is the opportunity to rewire your entire reality from the inside out. Hill emphasized again and again that you cannot cheat cause and effect. You cannot fake belief. You cannot skip the mental work and expect physical reward. The mind must be trained. The will must be directed. The emotion must be harnessed. That is the price of greatness. And what does this process look like? It begins with internal honesty. You must take full responsibility for what you've attracted so far. Not to feel shame, but to gain power. Because if you created it, you can change it. If your thinking built your current reality, then new thinking can build a new one. But only if that new thinking is sustained. This is the hardest part for most people. They get inspired by a book, a video, or a seminar. But that inspiration fades. Why? Because they never installed it as a habit. They never converted emotion into discipline. And without discipline, desire is powerless. Hill wrote that one of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Attraction requires endurance. It demands that you hold the vision. Even when results are delayed, that is the moment when most fail, the moment when nothing seems to be working. But if you persist, if you stay emotionally connected to your goal, if you continue to act with faith and conviction, you move into vibrational congruence. This congruence is rare and therefore powerful. It creates a magnetic force that moves mountains. When mind, heart, and behavior are aligned, you become unstoppable. You are no longer wishing for success. You are expecting it. And the universe recognizes that certainty. It begins to respond with new conditions, new openings, new synchronicities. Hill often spoke of infinite intelligence, the unseen force that governs all creation. When your subconscious mind is saturated with a clear vision, it taps into this infinite intelligence and begins to draw from it the ideas, insights, and inspirations needed to fulfill your desire. This is not guesswork. It is law, and it is always activated through definite purpose and emotional intensity. To attract success, you must speak like someone who expects to win. You must walk like someone who carries a vision. You must act like someone who is chosen, called, and unstoppable, not as a performance, but as your truth. Because the truth is this: you already are the person you're trying to become. But that version of you is buried under layers of fear, hesitation, and doubt. The law of attraction doesn't give you anything. It simply reveals who you truly are once you align with your highest identity. You must peel back the false self. The self that says, "I'm not ready." The self that fears judgment. The self that clings to comfort. That version of you cannot hold wealth. It cannot attract power. It cannot command opportunity, because it does not believe it deserves any of it. But when you affirm your vision daily, when you write it, speak it, feel it, and act from it, you begin to dissolve the false self. You shed the vibration of fear, and in its place, you activate the vibration of power. And that power attracts everything you need. Do not look outside for validation. The world will only reflect what you believe to be true. If you want more support, become the kind of person who believes they are supported. If you want more opportunity, become the kind of person who sees it everywhere. This is your responsibility and your liberation. You no longer have to wait. You no longer have to ask permission. You simply need to align. Hill's formula was never complicated. He said, fix in your mind the exact thing you desire. Determine what you will give in return. Establish a definite date. Create a clear plan. Write it, read it twice daily, and believe it as if it were already yours. This formula is not optional. It is the architecture of attraction, and if you follow it day after day, week after week, something begins to change. Not just in your results, but in your identity. You no longer feel like someone chasing success. You feel like someone chosen to succeed. That shift is everything, because once you feel chosen, you no longer tolerate mediocrity. You no longer doubt yourself. You no longer beg for favor. You command your environment by commanding your mind. And the universe, always faithful, responds in kind. The universe does not respond to weakness. It responds to definiteness. And that definiteness must be expressed not only in thought, but in feeling, speech, posture, and action. Napoleon Hill understood this with precision. He taught that success is not the product of external force. It is the inevitable outcome of internal power brought into alignment with universal law. At the center of this power is decision. Indecision is the seed of fear, and fear is the mental state that attracts delay, confusion, rejection, and failure. Hill wrote that decisiveness is the habit of the strong, and it is no accident that every great achievement in history was initiated by a single bold decision made in defiance of doubt. When you fail to decide, you default to drift. You let life happen to you instead of through you. You attract what is convenient, not what is worthy. You settle for what is given, rather than demand what is aligned with your purpose. This is why Hill stressed the importance of forming definite major purpose, a goal so specific and emotionally compelling that it dominates your thinking. This goal is not a wish, it is a command. You write it, you read it daily, you visualize it with passion, and you move toward it with complete confidence. The more you repeat this process, the more your mind begins to accept this desire as reality. This acceptance is critical. Once your subconscious believes it, it begins to generate ideas, find connections, and alter your behavior in ways that move you toward the fulfillment of the vision. This is not merely psychological, it is vibrational. Because once you become fully convinced that your goal is certain, you emit a frequency of success. That frequency is picked up by others. It alters how people perceive you. It changes your posture, your speech, your decisions. And slowly, the external world begins to bend in your favor, but it all hinges on decision. Without decision, there is no belief. Without belief, there is no attraction. Hill gave many examples of men who rose to power by sheer will. Henry Ford, who refused to accept mechanical impossibility. Thomas Edison, who failed 10,000 times before succeeding. Abraham Lincoln, who was defeated in nearly every election until he reached the presidency. What did they all have in common? They made a decision and refused to reverse it. This is what makes your vibration unshakable, permanence of purpose. Not giving up when others criticize, not shrinking when the world resists, not apologizing for wanting more, demanding more, being more. Most people dilute their power by constantly changing direction. They start a goal, face resistance, then abandon it for something else. This breaks the frequency. It sends mixed signals to the subconscious mind and to the universe. And as a result, they attract nothing definite. You must persist not until it gets hard, not until someone doubts you. Persist until it materializes. That is the standard. Persistence, as Hill described it, is the iron quality of all great leaders. It is the habit of acting again and again and again with increasing confidence, even when no evidence suggests success is near. That habit builds momentum, and momentum increases attraction. But here is the hidden truth. Persistence is not a personality trait. It is a decision reinforced by purpose. If your purpose is weak, you will quit. If your purpose is emotional, vivid, and urgent, you will endure anything to fulfill it. This is why emotional intensity matters. It is not enough to want something. You must burn for it. You must feel that your entire identity is tied to the outcome, that without achieving it, you are incomplete. This emotional connection activates the subconscious mind. It fuels faith. It charges your actions with intention, and it strengthens the frequency of your belief. You begin to live as though your success is guaranteed, not from arrogance, but from alignment. You are no longer asking if it will happen. You are asking when. You are no longer wishing. You are preparing. You are no longer chasing. You are receiving what you've already claimed in the unseen. That posture, that belief, is what attracts resources, people, and miracles. And yet, there is another dimension. Hill taught that you must always give more in service than you ask in compensation. Why? Because this is how the law of attraction respects balance. The universe does not reward takers, it rewards creators. And creators are givers. They give value, they give energy, they give excellence. When your vibration is one of contribution, not desperation, you increase your magnetic power. People trust you. Opportunities open. Wealth flows because you have become the kind of person who deserves it. Deservingness is not a moral concept, it's a vibrational one. You must feel worthy, and that worthiness is built by your habits, your integrity, your effort, your preparation. When you do the inner work, you stop sabotaging success. You stop rejecting compliments, delaying action, procrastinating on greatness. You accept that what you desire is already yours, because you have become the vessel for its manifestation. That is the deepest secret of the law of attraction. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. So decide to become that person. Decide to eliminate all doubt. Decide to act from faith. Decide to embody certainty. Decide to persist. Decide to rise, and the world will bend. There is a moment in every journey where the evidence of progress is invisible. No results, no validation, no applause, and in this silence, many surrender. But the few who persist, who believe without proof, act without permission, and trust without guarantee, those are the ones who become magnetic. Napoleon Hill understood this better than anyone. He knew that the law of attraction was not for the faint of heart. It was not a shortcut. It was a discipline of the mind and spirit, a way of life forged in solitude, repetition, and unwavering belief. This is why Hill emphasized the importance of faith applied through action. Passive hope is not faith. Real faith moves. It builds habits. It speaks boldly. It endures storms. The world you see today was once an invisible idea held in the mind of someone who refused to let it go. Skyscrapers, airplanes, revolutions, all of them born from minds saturated with belief. Their creators were not always the most intelligent, but they were always the most certain, and that certainty is not gifted. It is earned by daily practice, earned by emotional repetition, earned by cutting off all escape routes and deciding that success is inevitable. Hill taught us that the mind becomes magnetized through obsession. That means thinking about your goal constantly, not anxiously, but deliberately. Not as a fantasy, but as a decision. He called it white heat, that level of desire that burns all fear and melts all doubt. It is that emotional intensity that activates your subconscious and connects you to infinite intelligence. But here's what most overlook. Obsession must be organized. Without structure, it turns into frustration. You must channel it into a plan, a daily ritual, a rhythm of success. Wake up early. Affirm your purpose aloud. Visualize it in vivid detail. Charge your emotions with it. Then take strategic action. Track your progress. Eliminate distractions. Reinforce belief. This is not romantic. It is mechanical. And that's the real power of attraction. It's not random. It's precise. You are tuning your frequency like a radio. If you want to hear a different broadcast, you must adjust your inner signal. This is why success often feels spiritual. It's not because it's mystical, but because it requires inner transformation. And transformation feels like death to the old self. You must kill comfort. You must bury your excuses. You must outgrow your old circle. You must walk alone for a season until your new vibration attracts those who match it, and it will. The law of attraction works with mathematical precision. Once you've aligned your dominant thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with a specific outcome, the universe begins to rearrange itself. Delays are not denials. They are adjustments, redirections, preparation. This is why Hill warned not to be deceived by time. Most people quit 3 feet from gold. They give up because the surface hasn't cracked, unaware that the breakthrough was inches away. You must refuse to be ordinary, not in arrogance, but in responsibility. You have a duty to fulfill your vision, not just for yourself, but for those who are waiting on the impact only you can deliver. This duty gives you power. It becomes your fuel, your reason to persist when motivation is gone, your reason to study when you're tired, your reason to rehearse success in your mind while others complain. Because you are not here to participate in mediocrity. You are here to command reality. Command begins in thought, followed by declaration, reinforced by action, saturated with emotion, and purified by persistence. Each of these is a lever in the machinery of attraction. Remove one and the machine stalls, but when all are present, the power becomes exponential. You begin to experience momentum, that moment when effort feels effortless, when flow replaces force, when opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere, but they are not out of nowhere. And they are the byproduct of inner alignment sustained over time. This is why you must honor your rituals, your repetition, your personal standards, because the world will not hold you accountable to your greatness, but your habits will. So write your definite chief aim. Speak it daily, feel it hourly, act upon it relentlessly, and do this not once, but for life. You are not a dabbler, you are not an amateur. You are the one who decided that the vision matters more than the excuse, and for that reason alone, you will attract what others only fantasize about. Because the law does not fail, it waits, it watches, it tests, and then it delivers in proportion to the intensity, purity, and persistence of your vibration. So raise it, reinforce it, repeat it until the world responds. There is no greater force on earth than a mind that has made a final decision. In the final analysis of Napoleon Hill's teachings, success does not belong to the most talented, the most fortunate, or even the most intelligent. It belongs to the individual who has decided to never retreat. When you have fully aligned your thoughts, feelings, and actions with a clear and definite purpose, when you repeat that purpose daily, when you emotionalize it with faith and obsession, when you act on it persistently, regardless of how you feel or what others think, then, and only then, the law of attraction begins to operate at full capacity. And yet, there's a final key, one most overlooked: gratitude in advance. Hill taught us that to expect success is to honor its coming, to prepare emotionally, mentally, and physically as though the result has already occurred. This expectation is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is a vibration of certainty, and certainty is attractive. So you begin to move differently. You stop asking if it's possible. You stop analyzing the how. You stop measuring progress by what you see. Instead, you measure progress by the intensity of your belief, by the alignment of your vibration, by your commitment to act from the outcome, not toward it. This is the deepest form of creation, thinking from the result, not of the result. It requires courage, because to act as though success is guaranteed when there is no evidence requires faith beyond logic. But Hill was clear. Faith is the only known antidote to failure, and faith is built by repetition, by clarity of purpose, and by surrounding yourself with belief-enforcing inputs. You are not just trying to manifest a better life. You are becoming the cause of that life. You are building the habits, installing the mindset, and broadcasting the frequency of your next level. The law of attraction is responding, always, without exception. If you have not yet received what you want, it is not because the law is broken, it is because your signal is still mixed. So refine it, strip away fear, Eliminate doubt, kill distractions, declutter your vision, focus your emotional energy like a laser. You must burn away every contradiction. You cannot say you want wealth and constantly think of lack. You cannot desire love and constantly affirm your unworthiness. You cannot aim for greatness while surrounding yourself with mediocrity. Everything must align, every thought a declaration, every action a vote, every word a reinforcement, every emotion a charge. This is what it means to live on purpose. Hill made it plain. Success comes to those who become success conscious. That means you must live in such a way that success has no choice but to find you, not because you begged, but because you became worthy of it vibrationally. This is your final task, not to wish, not to wait, but to embody. So from this moment forward, act as if it is already done. Let every step, every breath, every word you speak be laced with certainty. You are not practicing for someday, you are claiming now. And as you do this, the world begins to mirror your inner stance. People will sense your power. Opportunities will gravitate toward your certainty. Resources will appear, not by magic but by magnetism, because you have become the source. So I ask you now, who are you becoming? Not just what do you want, but what version of yourself must exist to hold that vision with integrity? Think deeply. Are you willing to die to the lesser version of yourself so that the magnetic, powerful, unstoppable version can emerge? Because that is the requirement. And if you are willing, everything you desire is already on its way to you, waiting for your vibration to match it. You have the formula, you have the truth. Now act like it, speak like it, live like it. Your future is not a place you go, it is a frequency you tune into. And when you arrive internally, the external must follow. Now, if this message ignited something in you, if you felt your power return, your vision clarified, your vibration rise, then don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with 3 friends who need to hear this truth, and leave your answer in the comments. What belief about yourself are you choosing to let go of today? And what new belief will you install in its place? Remember, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Act accordingly.